Welcome to the spirit of our area, where we ride beyond the map and every stop becomes a story.
Today we're riding southeast from Penamacore. We stop off at a local market and head to one of the largest cities in the Beira interior region of central Portugal. The local market here in Orca takes place once a month, and if you speak English, it's a great place to meet other expats from all over the world. It's a great place to buy locally grown plants and eat food from other places and pick up some great bargains. It's mid-May here now and the weather is forecast to be a little colder than we would like it to be today. So at about 19 degrees centigrade, we were out in the leather coats. We may regret this later. The route that we're taking now will take us through Fundão, which is another large city, and it feels totally different to Covilhã. We ride through the climbing and twisty landscape, and it may surprise you, or not, if you've watched this channel before, that when my husband zoomed off to enjoy the twists, my sat-nav decided to take me on an unnecessary adventure. It took me all the way down the hill, just to send me all the way back up again. Charming. Needless to say, when my husband didn't see any sight of me for a while, he turned round to look for me. And here he is, look, we gave each other a wave. And as I needed to fuel, I decided to disobey my sat-nav and head for the petrol station, which is where we just happened to meet up again. The ride continued to be a joy, so much so that even when I reached our destination of Covilhã, I decided to keep on riding, and that was a great decision as the roads from here were fantastic, and for the first time on a ride out we saw more motorbikes than cars. We were not surprised looking at these roads. This road takes you up to the largest mountain range in mainland Portugal, and the roads leading up here did not disappoint. As a new rider, large mountain ranges such as these are quite intimidating, but I do like to push myself, so up we went until we reached this fabulous viewpoint. And as we happened to be prepared with lunch today, this was where we stopped, and we took full advantage of the fabulous view and these wonderful picnic benches. We took way too long over lunch, and we were truly stuffed as we got back on our bikes to ride back down to Covilhã. We had had a lovely ride back down the mountain and found a place to park up, right next to some lovely bikes. I had heard that Covilhã has some steep stone alleys and a lot of urban art and murals, so we set off to explore the streets and we were rewarded immediately. The first art we came across seemed to be steampunk medical themed. Sadly, some of them seem to have had needless graffiti on them, which is such a shame given the theme, but I guess there's probably a story behind them somewhere. These were the only two that we saw graffitied in this way, so I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye. As we continued down the alleyway, we marvelled at the contrast of the modern and the traditional, as we took in the beauty of the church ahead of us. And no more than a few steps down the road, we found not one piece of art, but two. And to be honest, without this praying mantis statue, I don't think we would have crossed the road to look back at this second piece. So, on we continued, and as we came to the next opening, we were greeted with this, a representation of the seasonal changes in Covilhã. Drifting down the side road in search of more, we discovered another, which was dated 2022. And even has the word wool included in the work itself. So, what is wool, I hear you think aloud? Wool is Covilhã's urban art festival, which began in 2011. We meander down another side street, taking in everyday places where local people live and socialise, and we're on a mission to find them all, just like Pokemon. But exhausted and hot, we found ourselves at a cafe, and as we hadn't eaten enough pastel de nata in the last 3 months, we took a seat. When we left the cafe, we followed the stairs next to them as the art drew us up and around. And as we wandered through Covilhã, I mused at how much more cosmopolitan it felt compared to the other large cities in the area. I guess the colourful artwork and the young students chilling on a Sunday afternoon helped to create this vibe. One of the things I really enjoyed about this town was the mix of the old and the new. The new art makes the streets feel relevant, and the old architecture keeps it grounded. The reason for the Urban Art Festival being called Wool is due to Covilhã's history as Portugal's great textile and wool city. And in many of the art pieces you can see the festival deliberately links back to that industrial heritage. And literally around every corner there's a new piece of art to discover. And of course every new piece of art lures you away from your intended path. This one is reconnecting the city to its local identity. Not alone on our open air gallery tour, we were drawn to investigate what our fellow explorers had seen that we could not. And this drew us deeper to explore in this direction. Now, I just want to point out the piece of art that we missed to the right. Due to the motorbike that was parked right opposite, we actually missed this artwork twice. And here we have two incredible works of art facing each other. One seemingly convey the exhausting complexity of textile work, as if even an extra arm could barely keep the thread under control. And on the opposite side, using pipes that were already coming out of the wall as a detailed close-up of the hands working. After a short break here, we wandered away in search of more murals. And as we followed the colourful walls, we turned to find this absolutely stunning, classically tiled church. And it honestly took my breath away, as it sat amongst this contemporary mural of a sheik. The murals help bring to life many of the tired and unused buildings in the city, reviving forgotten streets and pulling tourists into the old heart of the city. Some of the more contemporary pieces are a little harder to interpret than others, and some are classical and truly tell the story of the city. Covilhã, on top of being one of the largest university cities in the Beira region, is a hub for the gateway to the Serra da Estrela mountain and outdoor tourism. It also attracts many tourists who specifically travel here for urban art, and I can truly understand why. And I can't help wondering if Banksy has actually been here, or is this just inspired by his work? Now at this point I was in search for one particular work of art. But first we found another really old church that we needed to inspect. This old church was rebuilt in the 16th century and has typical architectural characteristics for the Beira region, with a pulpit outside and two porches. At this point we were hot. As I mentioned earlier, we'd worn our leather jackets as the weather was quite cool for this time of year, but meandering uphill on stone city streets can warm you up quite a lot. So I cheated. I asked the internet where the mural was that I wanted to see, as the last thing I wanted to do was head down the hill to find that I needed to come back up again. So, now following directions from my phone, we started to head back down the hill, continuing to find huge works of art and occasional hidden ones. We were starting to get near the place that my directions said was our destination, when my heart sank. I recognised it as the place where we'd started, and in the sunlight I must have selected the wrong destination was all I could think, and I just brought us back down to the wrong place. I was hot, exhausted and a little frustrated with myself, but I was not going to carry on the search, so that was that. Back to the bikes we were heading. Now, I'm going to be truthful, I wasn't filming the exact moment that this happened, but I was just telling my husband what had happened on my phone when he pointed over my head, and I turned to find the final piece of artwork that I was searching for right behind me. Now in hindsight, it felt like it was inevitable, as though the journey had already decided itself, and that this search was going to be ended by this piece of artwork no matter what. We got back to the bikes and headed back down the cobbles, past the praying mantis and past one of the destinations that was on my list, the Covilhã pedestrian bridge. However, as there was nowhere to park and we were hot and tired and had spent rather a long time having lunch, we decided not to stop, but save it for another day, as it really does look quite epic. This is a bridge that's passing over the valley, carved out below, purely for pedestrians. We rode home a different way to which we had came, passing by some impressive, newly built, colourful windmills. The roads home, once again, were pretty empty, with sweeping bends and new landscapes at every turn. We even found another mural in a different village, and I have to say that although I would happily go to all of these places in the car over the bike, even now, making these videos gives me a reason to ride, and with each ride I can feel my confidence, my ability and my faith in the bike increase. I'm so pleased that we decided to take this motorbiking journey together, and I can't wait to see what big adventures are ahead of us. My husband, however, no longer rides slow and waits for me. He rides his ride and I ride mine, and we tend to meet up somewhere just down the road. Although I'm sure he has to hold back a little on the straights just so I can catch him up. And at one point we did pull over and let some cars past. That is because they're always speeding here, and I did think the straps were flapping on my bag attached behind me, but we were all good, so we were soon on our way again, and I don't think we saw any other cars for the rest of the journey. And before we knew it, we were home. We gave our neighbours a little wave and we parked up under the grapevine. What surprised me most about this trip was how much more confident I am on a bike than I think I am. David had suggested riding up to the Serra da Estrela, and I had said no way, I'm not ready. Yet here I was, leading us up anyway, as it was far less scary in reality than it was in my own head. And honestly, this is why I try not to overthink the things that make me afraid. What strikes me the most about Covilhã, and Portugal in general, is just how accessible much of it is. The murals, the viewpoints, the walking routes, the bridges and the picnic spots, they're all there for everybody to enjoy. There is a sense that these places have been created to be used and enjoyed, making the spaces feel welcome and alive. You don't have to pay to visit such beautiful landscapes here. Next week we're heading to a cherry festival, so make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss that video. And please, if you've watched this far, please give the video a thumbs up and put a comment down below, as this really helps my channel to grow. And if you have any suggestions of anywhere else you think we should visit, please let us know. That was Covilhã. We hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining us.